Hey, welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. As you can tell by how shitty I look, the power rankings curse finally got me, Perna. I leave my house one time this year to attend a Broncos game, and now I'm sick. I'm also sick of the weight I feel with the curse of the number one spot bearing down on me every week for the power rankings. I'm a nice guy. I don't want to curse anyone, so to put integrity back into the curse, I have the Wheel of Pain. The Wheel of Pain. It used to say Wheel of Fun, but I crossed it out to be Wheel of Pain. So today, I have my power ranked teams, my top NFL teams, and my bottom three. This wheel will tell us all which team the curse will hit. That way, I can't interfere with the supernatural powers that the curse is. So are you ready to spin to see who gets the curse? Wheel of Pain! Uh-oh, the number 8 team is cursed. Who's it gonna be? Let's get it, sports. Is this how a sexy guy looks? I don't know, but if you don't want your team cursed, you better subscribe. Today's episode is brought to you by manscaped.com/goodsports. Manscaped is the longest running sponsor of the show. You know that. And you know the Performance Package Kit will take care of every single pube on your body. And now Manscaped just dropped an ultra premium body wash. And here's a censored version of me squirting the gel in the shower. Not this time, FCC. This is seriously my favorite body wash. My wife even complimented how nice I smelled after using it. It is infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin fresh, moist, and clean without ever drying out. That's important to me and my beard in this dry climate. Otherwise, my beard resembles a bad before image in a dandruff commercial. This 16-ounce aluminum bottle looks almost as sexy as you after a fresh trim with the Lawnmower 4.0 and a scrub with its vegan shower gel. Vegan, which I think means you can eat it. No, it just means it doesn't have any dyes or chemicals. You know the drill. Go to manscaped.com/goodsports for 20% off plus free shipping. So keep the change, you filthy, not filthy anymore animal. Alright, this is the newest edition of my NFL Power Rankings, which grows stronger and more accurate with every passing week. I attempted, futilely, to curse the Buccaneers last week by putting them atop the NFL at number 1. That backfired. Instead, I accidentally doomed my mistress team, the Buffalo Bills, who were number 1 in my heart and number 2, and went on to lose a heartbreaker on Monday Night Football. So let's start there, where the winner of that game, the Titans, makes an appearance on the rankings at number 10. Number 10, the Titans. The Tennessee Titans quietly have the same record as the Buffalo Billies after beating the Billies. They also have the best football player in the NFL in Derrick Henry. And most importantly, they play in the shittiest division in the league. Now the Colts may be figuring out how to football as Carson Wentz officially has fewer picks than sprained ankles. But the reason I put Tennessee here at 10 is I really liked what I saw from their defensive front against the Bills. They were physically dominant in the trenches, and all around, the D played with urgency and physicality. Were there flaws? Yes, they gave up a lot of points. That said, Taylor Lewan, who also plays for the Bills, suffered a bad concussion, and they lost their first-round draft pick corner, Caleb Farley, for the season with the torn ACL. This came after corner Christian Fulton was placed on IR Monday, and corner Chris Jackson was ruled out of the game with a foot injury. So I am not confident the Titans can defend the pass. That's something I said before all of these injuries, but maybe Derrick Henry can carry this team like he does defenders to win the division. Number 9, the Bengals. The Bengals beat the ever-living fuck out of a team that shows a lot of heart despite their winless record. Joe Burrow, bruised throat and all, has thrown 14 touchdowns this season, while Jamar Chase has almost twice as many yards and touchdowns as any other receiver on the team. His 553 receiving yards makes him fourth best in the NFL right now, and the closest rookie is Devontae Smith with 345, more than 200 less than Chase has already amassed. The Bengals still have 2 games against the Ravens, which I think will be as big a test as they get all season, and should prove whether or not they're a real contender or a borderline playoff team, and most importantly, whether or not they belong on this list. Oh, thank you, football gods. I couldn't have written this script any better, because number 8, the new cursed team, the Chargers. The Chargers got their asses kicked, plain and simple. The going for it on 4th down finally failed, which it was bound to at some point. But like the Browns game a week ago, the Chargers' run defense has proved to be a huge liability for this team. They're 32nd in total rushing yards allowed, as well as yards per carry allowed. Their pass defense is top 3 right now, but that's probably because teams are starting to realize there's no reason to ever throw the ball against this LA defense. LA Defense, starring Christopher Maloney, Thursdays on NBC. Now see, the Chargers getting the curse from the Wheel of Pain is interesting, because I was going to put the Chargers number 1 last week, because I genuinely thought, they might be a number 1 team. But I was like, no, I can't do that, because as an AFC West guy as a Broncos fan, it's going to look very suspicious if I put the Chargers there. So we'll see what happens, LA. Number 7, it is the big fall, the Buffalo Bills. They needed a half yard to keep their chances to win alive. They were right to go for it in that situation, but Jeffrey Simmons stepped up and made one of the few great defensive plays of the game. The Bills have lost just 5 regular season games since the start of 2020, and 2 of those losses came against the Titans. Obviously, their run defense was a problem last night, but last time I checked, this is the only week they have to play Derrick fucking Henry again. So as long as they can keep not playing Derrick Henry, their defense should be in better shape and resume dominant form. Number 6, the Rams. It's been well documented how good Matt Stafford has been this season, especially when targeting Cooper Kupp, who has 653 yards and 7 touchdowns this season. That's second best in receiving yards behind only Devontae Adams, and is best in receiving touchdowns. Kupp is number 1. I am a little worried about what will happen when this team plays a better passing offense, especially given the injury to cornerback Darius Williams, who should be out at least 3 weeks. The Rams are 21st in passing yards allowed, and that's including the last 2 games against Geno Smith and Daniel Jones. Still, the Rams are in striking distance of the NFC West, which is starting to look like a 2-horse race between them and the Cards. Number 5, it's the Packers. This just in, Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. The Packers still own the Bears, and the Packers currently own the rest of the NFC North. And since the public owns the Packers, that means they also own the Bears, Vikings, and Lions. The Pack haven't lost since that Week 1 debacle in Jacksonville against the Saints, and while they haven't looked as dominant as a team like, say, the Ravens, they followed the same exact trajectory as Baltimore, minus the part where they signed every 30-year-old running back on the market. And as Tom Grossi reminds me 3 days a week on our show GPS every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, the Packers are winning despite all of their current injuries. Number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I am sad to report that my attempt to curse the Buccaneers was thwarted by a much more powerful force. The referees, who called the Eagles for taunting and walked the Bucs down the field to end the game. Now, is that the only reason the Bucs won? No, of course not. They probably still would have won, but like the ending of the Giants-Dodgers Game 5 that same night, I am tired of the referees taking the game into their own hands, especially for a foul that has no impact on the play. The only factors at play should be the 2 teams, and my supernatural abilities abilities of sabotage. Number 3, the Ravens. With 35 wins, Lamar Jackson officially has the most wins of any quarterback before the age of 25. And that's despite the fact that Joe Flacco was the starter at the beginning of Jackson's rookie season, along with Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, and Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson is in the running for MVP right now, despite 5 interceptions early in the season. Here's why this offense is incredible. They are making it work with whoever is playing running back. Against the Chargers, Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, and Le'Veon Bell all scored touchdowns. That's the first time 3,000-yard running backs have ever scored in the same game. If this team has any weakness, we probably won't see it until the playoffs. Number 2, we got the Dallas Cowboys. If you're the Cowboys, you should be a little concerned that it took overtime to beat the Patriots, but they also gave us one of the best games of the year, so it's hard to complain too much. The irony here, of course, is this game not being in prime time for the Cowboys. Trayvon Diggs is the most entertaining player in football right now. You throw the ball his way and something happens, one way or another. But the best surprise player on that defense might be Randy Gregory, who is flying high. With 4 sacks this season, including a couple big ones on Mac Jones that kept the Patriots from extending their lead. Dak strained his calf, but luckily the Cowboys are heading into a bye week where they can regroup. And by the time they get back, they'll probably be a game away from clinching the NFC East. And the no longer cursed number 1 spot goes to the Cardinals. I'm really impressed with the Cardinals. Not just because they're undefeated. Not just because they have a point differential of plus 85. Not just because they're top 5 in offense and defense. No. It's because they survived a game coached by Vance Joseph. With Cliff Kingsbury out with COVID, the Cards went into Cleveland and beat the Browns by 23 points, led by a coach who was previously 11-21 as a head coach. It's almost like you need a really good team to be a good head coach. Almost all of their offensive stars are making plays. Chase Edmonds is averaging 6 yards per carry, which is more impressive in my opinion since he gets like 3 carries per game. AJ Green is averaging 16 yards per catch. Christian Kirk has just 9 fewer yards than DeAndre Hopkins. And oh, by the way, they have Zach Ertz ready to play next week. The Cardinals have the Texans next week, so you can count on them going 7-0. And then they play Green Bay at home, which should be one of the best games of the season. This brings us to my power bottom 3. Number 1, the worst team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I'm really sad to report that the Lions are now in sole possession of my power bottom 1. Not only have they failed to win, but Dan Campbell is throwing Jared Goff under the bus. To be fair, that's sort of what the Rams did when they traded him to Detroit after giving him a massive contract, but I think Dan is probably learning a valuable coaching lesson this week. Stick to saying weird shit like loosely referencing cannibalism when the cameras are on, and criticize your players behind closed doors. Chris Carter was one of the most vocal critic of Campbell, which is ironic because Campbell was simply taking Carter's advice in deploying a fall guy for his problems in Jared Goff. Number 2, it is the Houston Texans. Now they may get a bit better if Tyrod Taylor returns to the starting lineup, but if you start Tyrod, you run the risk of winning too many games to draft his replacement. Davis Mills looked great against New England, then returned to shitty form against the Colts. But like I said, the worse Davis Mills plays, the better prospect you get in return. Number 3, it's the Patriots. Oh, God. Haven't we all been waiting for this to finally be real? You suck, New England. You suck. Your team is shit. Hey, Bill. Not so easy to win when your QB isn't a Hall of Famer, is it? Your defense is getting old. You're getting old. And your miserable old man shtick doesn't work when your team sucks. Nobody is scared of you, and all your powers are gone. The Pats are running on mystique alone. Teams will soon realize that going into New England is no longer a daunting task. It's just like playing the Dolphins or the Jets. Just avoid throwing picks to J.C. Jackson. Try to not let the run game bull you over, and you should be just fine against the Pats. Old man Belichick is starting to fall apart. Thanks for watching the Power Rankings. Make sure you compare them to Tom Grassi's Power Rankings, and then we will fight about them Wednesday morning on our live show, Grassi Perna Show, at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Mountain Time.